Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'd like to do is show you how to graph the equation of the ellipse, as well as identify the focus and the directrix. So to do this, I'm going to want to get my x and y's on opposite sides, and I'm going to want to make sure that my y is by itself as well. So to do that, I'm just going to add a 5x to both sides here. Then I have 1/3 y squared equals 5x. Let's get rid of this 1/3. To do that, I'll multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. Any number multiplied by reciprocal goes to 1, so I have 1 times y squared, which is just y squared, equals 15x. Perfect. So now we know that the y is squared, which you could have seen in there, but let's go and look at the general form of a quadratic, of a parabola when your y is squared, 4p times x minus h. Okay. So now what we can see in this case is that I don't have an h and a k. Now, I do have an h and a k, actually. They are just not represented in the equation, and they're represented as 0, which we don't really show. So I can now say that my center is 0, 0. Now, the last thing we need to do is just determine what our p is, because our p represents the distance from our focus, from our vertex to our focus. So to determine that, I know that 4p is multiplied by x, right? So 4p is equal to 15. Divide by 4, divide by 4. P equals 15 divided by 4, which is going to go in there 3 times and 3/4. So let's just reduce it first. You can't reduce that. OK, 15 over 4, which is equivalent to 3.75, right? Something like that. OK. So I'm going to use that value just to kind of help me when I'm graphing, because graphing 15 over 4 might be a little like, eh. So sometimes decimals, I guess I will say I like to use them, especially when graphing, to get an idea. All right, so we know that the graph, since y squared, the graph either opens up to the right or opens up to the left. But since p is positive, remember p represents the distance from your vertex to your focus. Since that's positive and I'm going left or right, I have to be going to the right, correct? So let's go ahead and draw our vertex, which is at 0, 0. And again, remember, since y is squared, it opens left to right. Since p is positive, I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 3.75, which is the focus. Well, since the focus is to the right of the vertex, my parabola has to open up to the right. So therefore, I can say the focus is at 3.75, 0. The last thing we need to do is determine the directrix. Now, notice that we have an axis symmetry on the x-axis, right? The directrix is perpendicular to that axis of symmetry. And the other thing is the distance from the vertex to the focus is exactly the same as the distance from the vertex to the directrix. So instead of going 3.75 to the right, I need to now go 3.75 to the left. And that's going to be my perpendicular line, which is my directrix. And directrix is a line, so that is going to be x equals negative 3.75. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you write the equation of your ellipse, as well as identify the focus and the directrix. Thank you.